Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. I am Sabir Hasnan, your science subject teacher from grade 8. As you know, in last video lecture, we discussed some basics about salts. Over there, we discussed what is salt, and later on, I will discuss about the naming of salt and how we can make the physical properties of salt. And there were two methods in which we discussed about how we can make salt. So if you remember, we said salt is a chemical which is a solid substance that is produced by the reaction of acid and with the base. So after that, as I told you, we discussed about the naming, how we name them and how we make them. And I told you earlier there are four methods, with different methods through which we can make salts. The first method is by using acid and alkalis. The second method is acid and metals. The third method is acid and metal carbonates, and the fourth method acid and metal oxides. If you remember, we discussed first two methods in last week. In last two. Today, our aim is to discuss the third method, how acids and metal carbonates produce or make salt. So our aim is to make salt by using the third method, which is acid and metal carbonates. So before going to discuss how the reaction will be, definitely we have to know about metal carbonates. What are metal carbonates? Then after discussing the metal carbonate, we can understand what would be the reaction. Now the point is the third method, which is acid and metal carbonates. The carbonates are actually those chemicals which contain carbon and oxygen together. It means the carbonates are compounds or chemicals which have the carbon and oxygen present in that chemical at the same time. Look at the examples first. In example 1, we have limestone. In limestone is calcium carbonate. So calcium is one element, carbon, Ca stands for calcium, C stands for carbon, and then O3 stands for 3 atoms of oxygen. So it means it contains carbon and oxygen as well. 3 atoms of oxygen, 1 atom of carbon, and 1 atom of calcium, Ca, which is calcium, and calcium is a metal. Now look at next, baking soda. Baking soda is sodium hydrocarbonate. Okay, Na stands for sodium, which is metal, H for hydrogen, and C for carbon, and O3 for 3 atoms of oxygen. So it means carbonate are those chemicals or compound which contain carbon and oxygen at the same time. Now, how carbonate react with acid? Whenever the metal carbonate reacts with dilute acid, if you remember the previous example, for example, the limestone, calcium carbonate, or baking soda. So whenever they react, these carbonates, CaCO3 and calcium carbonate reacts with dilute acid. Dilute acid is maybe HCl, maybe H2SO4, or maybe HNO3, whatever that would be. They produce carbon dioxide. So whenever these metal carbonates react, whatever the metal carbonate would be, either the baking soda or limestone, whatever that would be. So whenever that react with the dilute acid, there are different types of acids. So whatever the acid would be, they will produce a carbon dioxide at that time. So a solution that is produced, that is basically metal oxides at N. Whenever the reaction takes place, definitely, as I told you in the last chapter, over there we discuss acid reacts quickly with different metals. So whenever we put a metal carbonate into the acid, a chemical reaction will occur. That chemical reaction will occur easily at room temperature. It means there would be no heat required to take required for this reaction. So let's discuss about the chemical reaction. These are two equations. Upper one is the word equation and the lower one is the chemical equation. Whenever acid reacts with metal carbonates, on the left side we have the reactants, on the right side we have the products. So when acid reacts with metal carbonates, it produces metal salt, carbon dioxide and water. So acid HNO3, nitric acid, which is called nitric acid, NO3 is from nitric acid. So HNO3 is nitric acid, metal carbonate PbCO3, Pb is lead, CO3 is carbon and oxygen as well. So this is metal carbonate, in other words we call it lead carbonate. And on the right side we have metal salt, which is PbNO3, and this PbNO3 is metal salt, which is lead nitrate. And here at the bottom we have two as well, which I missed, and the lead carbonate, after the lead carbonate reacts with HNO3, it produces metal salt, which is lead nitrate, and it produces carbon. So the point is, when nitric acid reacts with lead carbonate, at the end we get a lead nitrate, which is metal salt, H2O, which is water, and carbon dioxide, which is a gas. Now here, as I told you, carbon dioxide is produced. So definitely we have to check, we have to test for the carbon dioxide. So question is, how we can check test the carbon dioxide. As we know, carbon dioxide is a colorless and odorless gas. So carbon dioxide actually reacts with the lime water, and when it reacts with lime water is, so definitely when carbon is colorless, it means we cannot see the carbon dioxide gas, and when it is odorless, it means we cannot smell the carbon dioxide as well. So as when carbon dioxide reacts with the lime water, definitely there would be a chemical reaction, and through that chemical reaction we can understand this is carbon dioxide. So what is that reaction? So whenever look at the figure, here we have metal carbonates and acid. Whenever they react and they produce carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide will move through the tube, and through this delivery tube it will enter into the other tube. If we take the example through this, we can understand about the carbon dioxide. At this we have the lime water. As I told you, it will reacts with the lime water. So when it reacts with the lime water, the bubbles will produce, okay, and the lime water quickly turns through a colorless to a cloudy solution, and we have the bubbles at the bottom. And one more thing which is very important, during the reaction the sound is produced when the bubbles form, okay, or the gas will escape from this. So this is how we can check the carbon dioxide. And keep in mind, the carbon dioxide is heavier. It means carbon dioxide will not move to. So at the end, the lime water solutions turns into the milky solution. That is